Greetings, guys, gals, non-binary pals, and welcome back to another video. Something we have long established by now is that Twitter is a horrifying place. Don't get me wrong, it is my number one top used social media by like a lot. I average like 3 hours a day on there, which is terrible. I really need to tone it back. I have a bit of a Twitter problem. And because I spend so much time on there, I see a lot of things go down. Like so much happens on Twitter, which is absurd and just ram your head into the wall frustrating, you know? It's somewhere where people just really take advantage of anonymity. People have too much courage and like they're just so obtuse and horrible, really. Like one of the most popular memes on Twitter that comes up, or like people will always be like pancakes and waffles in response to things, is because there's like a whole meme of being like, you can be on Twitter and say, I love pancakes, and the replies will all be like, what did you say about waffles? So that kind of explains a lot of what goes on Twitter, pancakes and waffles. Because no matter what you say, everything can be turned around and everything can be used against you. It just happens constantly. And there's also like the whole thing of like, you can just say the most mundane, innocent stuff and somehow have the entirety of Twitter just like turn on you. You can be a target of like terrible abuse just by saying something so normal. And I will get into that and give you some examples of that in a moment. But before I do, I would like to take a moment to tell you about today's sponsor, Belisar. Belisar is a company by women for all things sexual empowerment. They aim to empower everyone to embrace and explore their sexuality completely shame-free. And so today I've teamed up with them for a massive giveaway of free vibrators and vouchers to everyone who signs up using the link in the description. They have a massive range of toys for you to choose from, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about some of my favorites now. So first and foremost, most of them come in these like really cute rechargeable cases, which I'm absolutely obsessed with. They're like discreet, they're easy to store, they're easy to travel with or take with you on little overnight ventures. And one of the most popular toys that I'm sure you have heard of by now is their Air Vibe, which has suction for external stimulation and a vibe for internal. And so you get like dual stimulation, which is pretty intense. And she has recently gotten a friend, Flutter, and she's a very similar toy with the internal vibration, and then instead of suction for external, she has a little tongue. So if that is more your forte and you want some like tongue replication, external sort of sensations, then Flutter Vibe is for you. And look how cute she is. I am obsessed with this color. My personal favorite of theirs is Pebble, which is an external suction toy that also offers vibration, which means that it makes it just a little bit more intense, but also you can just like turn her around and use her as like a classic sort of bullet vibe sort of style. And I am obsessed with her. She's always been my favorite. I am a suction toy girly. So if you are interested in any of these and you want a voucher or even getting one for free, then please do check out the link in my description. It is so worth it. There's nothing quite like having some good like self-exploration and connecting with your body and your sexuality. So yeah, thank you so much, Belisar, for sponsoring today's video. I always appreciate it. Okay, so now that I have told you about all of that, let's get into the body of the video. So as I said, like you can say the most mundane, innocent thing ever on Twitter and then be the target to like mass abuse, which is absolutely absurd. Like some examples is like last year, this woman tweeted that she likes to start her mornings with like a cup of coffee out in her garden with her husband. And for some reason, Twitter decided to just go after her and attack her and just being like so horrible because she said she likes to drink coffee in the garden with her husband. And I was like, that's absurd. Like, oh my God, let people exist. You are allowed to drink coffee in the garden with your husband, you know? But we're not talking about that today. But that was absurd. And then I already made a video a couple weeks ago about what happened with Dr. Ali Lux, who did a PhD on olfactory ethics. And she posted just, hey, look, I got my PhD. How fun. And it got like tens of thousands of replies just being horrifically misogynistic because, you know, a woman posts about a success that she has and obviously becomes the victim of mass abuse. And this week, the person who was subjected to this ridiculous amount of horrific abuse and just being torn apart is this guy who posted about going on his first ever date and he brought flowers. Like, he bought a bouquet of roses on his first date and he posted a photo of himself with the flowers with the caption, "First ever date tonight, absolutely bricking it. Wish us luck, ladies and gentlemen." That was it. That was his entire post. And this now has over 130 million views with like 400k likes and like thousands upon thousands of replies and quotes. And it is just like, why? Literally, why? It's ridiculous. Like, this is just a guy who like doesn't have very many followers, who just posts like positive stuff. He was training to run a marathon for mental health and has just been like posting about training for that and like his fitness journey. That's his account. And then he posted this and just... And so obviously, yeah, this was an incredibly innocent tweet for no one but his followers. Like, no one else was meant to see this. Wasn't expected to blow up, because why would you expect this tweet to like blow up and become the center of Twitter for the next several days? Obviously, people in the replies decided to go off. Obviously, other men decided to come in and just be men. And by that, I mean be assholes. And somehow in this post that is just a man posting a photo of himself, still be ridiculously misogynistic. Because why wouldn't these men take any chance they can to be misogynistic? Most of them obviously are incels coming in to just like voice their opinions because, you know, incels be incelling any opportunity they can get. And some of their replies included, "Never bring flowers to a first date. This isn't the 1950s. These hoes see it as a sign of weakness. Women will eat you alive if you bring them flowers on the first date. Flowers? Enjoy the friend zone, young man. Make this a learning experience for you." And like, ultimately, this is so funny because why are you, as men, speaking on behalf of all women? Who decided that you know what women like and appreciate? Like, who came in and told you like all women hate receiving flowers on the first date? They will walk all over you. You'll never get anywhere if you bring women flowers on the first date. Like, I don't know who told you this, but I need you to like sit down, because like so many of the replies are women being like, "Oh my God, I would love getting flowers on the first date. That's so lovely. I would cry. Like, you would absolutely secure a second date." So funny to see the contrast. They're like directly following each other. You have like 4 comments from women being like, "Oh my gosh, flowers." And then a man being like, "These bitches won't appreciate you. They'll walk all over you." It's like, oh my God. Absolutely ridiculous. There are a few women in the replies who are like, "That's so weird. You're crossing a line." And like, to that I say, if you are bringing flowers on a first date and she doesn't appreciate them and she thinks you're weird or whatever, like, she's just not the person for you. You know what I mean? If you're the type to bring flowers, you should be dating the type of person to accept flowers. I personally don't understand why someone wouldn't accept flowers. Like, that's such a cute gesture. You know, I've been brought flowers on a first date once or twice, I think. And I think it's lovely. That's so sweet. I can't think of a single problem with bringing flowers on a first date. Like, I can't fathom a single issue that you might have with this and how you would ever jump to the conclusion that it's like a bad thing to do. Like, I just am incapable of doing it. And I hate this like notion of like all of these men put women in the same box. They all speak on behalf of all women for everything. And it's like, okay, what some women like, other women don't, and vice versa, because believe it or not, we are all individuals capable of having our own individual thoughts and feelings. And putting all women in a box of just being ungrateful for everything is like, can you like calm down and stop just being an asshole and making women out to all unanimously be just ungrateful, you know? And like, these are just a few of the more tame responses. They do get worse as you go. So you have longer tweets like this one. You bring flowers after a romantic relationship is established and you have feeling. Showing up for a first date with flowers is a risk. You might be misjudged in today's standards. Women. They all say they love it, but then laugh at you in the girls group, and probably no second date because they like Machiavellian figures, not good guys. Mostly let the first date be casual. No flowers for me, except if she's my potential girlfriend. Like, bro, oh my god. Who set these standards? Who told you all of this? Like, the rule should always be yourself. And if they don't appreciate it, they're not the one for you. And the be yourself thing also applies to assholes, purely because, like, I think if you're an asshole, you should do that straight away so I can decide I never want to go out with you ever again. Show your true colors on the first date so I can decide if you are worth pursuing or not. You know what I mean? If they are laughing at you in the group chat for a nice gesture, they're just not a nice person. I cannot imagine, like, getting flowers on the first date and then being like, oh, this is so sweet, and then going into a chat with my friends being like, lol, this nerd brought me flowers. Like, that's so mean. Stop painting women out to all be catty. Like, we appreciate nice gestures. Most people are going to appreciate people being kind and people being nice and showing that they care and that they're thinking of you and that they're just trying to do a nice thing. It's like these men all paint women out to be just catty and ungrateful and like they're gonna laugh at you for being nice, and it's all because they listen to podcasts. They like listen to Andrew Tate, they listen to the Fresh and Fit podcast, and they let them, these like misogynistic assholes, paint what all women look like, and these men eat it up. They eat it up. These misogynists, like the Fresh and Fit podcast, like Andrew Tate, like everyone like them, they paint these pictures of women, and for some reason, everyone believes it. They describe a very particular type of woman, which is the absolute minority, and yet somehow have managed to convince themselves and everyone else that is all women. And it just completely baffles me. And even then, the type of woman they're like painting out all women to be is like, it barely exists. They're just trying to make everything women's problem. They're trying to validate you in being an asshole because they want to mistreat women and they want you to mistreat women and they want everything about women to be bad and wrong. To make you feel better about yourself, to make them feel better about themselves, and to just continue to bring women down. That's the only goal. Nothing they say holds any ground or any truth at all, and yet these men eat it up. They eat it up because it means they can continue to be assholes. So why wouldn't they eat it up? Because like, what do you mean women like Machiavellian, I have no idea how to pronounce that, Machiavellian, I don't know. I googled the meaning and it basically just means an asshole. Women like Machiavellian, I'm not even gonna try, figures, not good guys. Because like, what are you talking about? Like, what are you talking about? I need this whole idea to die. I don't know who started this. I don't know why they started. I do know why they started it. I just said why. They just wanted an excuse to be assholes. But I need you to stop, because believe it or not, most people don't like it when their partners are assholes. They don't like when their partners treat them like shit. And I think that there's like this weird thing of like, yeah, some people have like, I don't know, like a degradation kink or whatever. Like that's a thing that exists. But those sorts of relationships exist within consent. Like that's a completely different thing. There's a different thing for being like an asshole for like kink purposes or whatever and being an actual asshole. Like conversations need to be had and like love still needs to be, it's a completely separate thing. So yes, some women do like that sort of vibe and like whatever, but it's in a very different way to how you were trying to portray it. You know, it's not the same thing. And on that fun note, we carry on into this other reply that says, good for you, get that. Remember, after like 2 dates, women don't like it if you keep being nice to them. You need to stop being mean, at least sometimes. Dead serious. They don't make sense. Don't expect them to, and you won't be disappointed. Like, can we stop? Can we please just like stop? Take a second and like breathe, because if you start being mean to me after a couple of dates, I am dropping your ass so quick. so quick, and so are a majority of people. Most people are not going to tolerate that. Why should we? Why would we? And then like you do this and you act like this, and then you're like, what? Why don't my relationships last? Why won't women date me? It's because you decided that women want you to be an asshole after 2 days. Like, you are single for a reason. None of your relationships work out for a reason. And the reason is that you are an asshole. People, believe it or not, don't want that. We don't like that. You know, most people don't like being treated like shit. Most people actually would like a loving, caring partner. And your excuse for just being a dick, it's just that. It's an excuse. And it clearly doesn't work in your favor, does it? Please do not listen to any of the advice telling you to be an asshole, because it doesn't work. And like, even if it did, and you say, like, this person said that his default is nice and he just has to force himself to be an asshole to please women. And it's like, if you have to lie about being an asshole and it comes that naturally to you, you are just an asshole. You aren't actually a nice guy. You just want to be mean to women and like pretend you're a nice guy. But like, regardless, if you have to be mean for your relationship to be successful, you have to fight and you have to like just hate each other. It's not a good relationship. Why are you aiming for a toxic relationship? A toxic relationship is not better than no relationship. If you are being like, I have to be mean to my girlfriend, we have to have lots of fights, otherwise the relationship isn't going to work, you need a different relationship. That's not the type of relationship you should be looking for. If you are someone who wants drama in your relationship, you need to have better relationship goals. And if you're someone who doesn't want drama in your relationship and you start dating someone who does, you're not compatible. We shouldn't be aiming for toxic relationships. And it's absurd that you're out here being like, hey, you know what you should look for? Mutual abuse. Like, no, don't do that. Please. I do have to take a moment here to just laugh at the fact that this is a post of a man holding flowers and going on a date. That's all this post is. And somehow we still managed to turn it around to just being misogynistic. There's no women involved in this post. He didn't even mention women. He could be going on a date with another man for all we know. I'm like pretty sure he's straight. I think he confirmed that it was with a woman like later on. But like, just from this post alone, it doesn't actually say anywhere that he is going on a date with a woman. But everyone still decided to turn around, make it into just a post to shit on women. It's all about how women are assholes. Women don't like nice guys. Women will eat you alive. Women are ungrateful. Women are catty. Women are bitches. Whoa, we know nothing about this girl. You know literally nothing about who he's going on a date with. You don't know her name. You don't know her face. You don't know her story. You literally don't know a single thing. And you're out here just throwing around all sorts of accusations and putting all women in the same box. Like, this isn't even about her. How are we out here just making everything into just being misogynistic as hell? How do we take a post that is literally just a man and make it into women? The fuck? Like, here is like an interaction that happened in the replies, which is, why are you taking her flowers? Because he's courting a girl properly? Bring her flowers while she's getting cream pied on OnlyFans? Laughing emojis. Like, Jesus Christ, man. You don't know anything about this woman. Like, not a thing. And why, like, where did this idea come from that all women are sex workers? Why is it that we just like slut shame every woman and put on the fact that all women are sex workers? Like, not that there's anything wrong with doing OnlyFans or whatever, if that's what you want to do, but in general, a majority of women are not sex workers. And a majority of women are like not sleeping around that much. There was this tweet the other day that was like, most women have, when they leave college, have a body count of like 1 to 200 guys or something ridiculous. I actually think the number was higher than that. And like, who is telling you this? The average body count of a woman who's in their like early 20s is 4. I don't know what number you're coming up with, how you're coming up with this number. The body count of like an adult, like someone in their 40s or whatever, like the average body count is like 7. Most people sleep with like an average of 7 people in their lives. And men's body count is higher in most places in the world. Not significantly, but a bit higher. I don't know why you're painting out all women to just go around and hook up with everyone for nothing, for no reason. Like, it's absurd. And like, there's no problem if you do that. You can sleep with whoever you want for whatever reason you want. Like, go for it. But it's just wild to me to put that on everyone. And then also to somehow make that like a problem. Like, even if she was an OnlyFans model, who cares? Even if she has had sex with a ton of people, who cares? Why does that impact the relationship you have with her now? Why does her past mean anything now? It's just so weird that so much value is put on women's like purity and virtue, even in fucking 2024. It's just a way to make these men feel better about themselves, to be like, again, it's like bringing women down and putting their value in stupid places and making it up so they feel better about being single. They can't get women to date them. They don't understand why women don't like them, and so somehow they just make women into the villain, so then they feel better about not dating women. You know, they have to hate women to feel better about themselves. Like, I'm sorry women don't like you, but I'm not. But like, if you want them to like you, you have to stop over-sexualizing and objectifying us, and then maybe you'll have a better shot. But since you only see women for their body counts and like what their body is and what they can do for you, you're not gonna have any luck because you're an asshole. It's really that simple. It's like really not that hard to figure out. The common denominator with you and all your failed relationships is you. You are the problem, not women. It is you. Do some self-reflection and work on yourself, and maybe you'll have more luck later. You have another reply that just reads, yes, but not for the first date. You need to make her work to get you. Anything that comes easy doesn't have any value. Yeah, giving her flowers is cute, but it will turn her off completely. Please tell me your source. I am begging you. Show me your source that isn't Andrew Tate, Sneeko, the Fresh and Fit podcast, or anything like that. I need you to show me a source from actual women saying that getting them flowers and treating them kindly is going to turn them off. Because if you're looking at the replies to this tweet and the quotes of this tweet, you're going to find that women actually, as a whole, like the majority of us, appreciate gestures like this, appreciate kindness, and would like swoon over this. But you're instead taking advice about women and what women like from men. And that is your biggest fault. This one tweet sums it up quite nicely, I think. It says, men in the replies are calling him a beta and saying he shouldn't have brought flowers. The male loneliness epidemic doesn't need to be studied because if someone doing something nice for someone is off the table, then that's why you losers are alone. Lol. And like, yeah. Yeah, all these men will sit here and scream and cry about the male loneliness epidemic and how women don't like them and how women are all the worst and it's impossible to find a girlfriend and no one loves them and men are all alone and blah, 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 blah. But they are doing it to themselves. They're out here like digging their own graves and then making it women's problem. It's a super simple solution. Like, if being nice is something that you can't and won't do, then you're gonna struggle to find love, you know, because most people value kindness and empathy and care. And if you are refusing to give those things, people aren't gonna like you. I have a lot to say about the male loneliness epidemic, so I am going to make a whole video about it. So I'm not gonna sit here and talk about this too much right now. But yeah, it's an epidemic of their own making, and it's so funny to watch them scream and cry and make it about women, because just like this tweet, somehow we make everything women's problem. On top of all this raging misogyny, there is also, of course, a lot of body shaming that is going on. So much so that he made a video responding to it. He took a screenshot of like a bunch of the replies that like call him fat and ugly and that sort of stuff, and he made like a collage of it, and then at the end of it he showed himself like training for the marathon and running the marathon, and he was like replying to people saying that he is actively trying to lose weight and that is what the purpose of his page is. And like, it makes me so sad because it's him taking all these like comments of like body shaming him and being like, yeah, I know, I'm working to change that. People are like, you're never gonna find a girlfriend if you don't lose weight, and he's like, I know, I'm working on losing weight. And it's so sad because like that's not true at all. Like, it's a really untrue statement. And I think that a lot of the time it comes from men who like kill themselves in the gym, and they see men who don't do that and who don't have what they consider the ideal body type having more success with women, and they get so mad because it's kind of like, well, I'm working myself to death and making myself miserable trying to fit this ideal beauty standard, while these men who don't do that are like happy and getting dates. That doesn't seem fair. I'm gonna go tear him apart and make him feel bad about himself, because otherwise I'm doing all of this for nothing. Because if women will date someone who looks like that, why won't they date me? That's not fair. And they just take it out on people. And it's so frustrating. And it happens all the time in like all circumstances. People who are miserable like to take that misery out on other people because they don't see it as fair when other people aren't miserable. And some of the replies that were included in this collage that he put together were like, I feel bad for the girl who agreed to go on a date with this obese pig. I know she was feeling extra charitable that day. Grow up, you fat melon. I'm sure the girl doesn't think that way. Probably catfished her. Fat fuck. He got dumped before the end of his first date. He could have saved himself that pain and humiliation by presenting actual masculinity instead of roly-poly doofus masculinity. And I am so astounded, but unfortunately not actually that astounded, by this. Like, the amount of projection is outstanding. Like I said, I think a lot of it does just come down to misery and people wanting to continue that cycle. They're like, if I'm miserable, you have to be miserable. And it's so upsetting because like people do fall into this. Like, he is listening to this, and instead of being like, you know, I don't care, like this is me, it is very much listening to it and feeling like he has to prove that he can be attractive, that like he will work to fit into these body types that society has told him that he has to. And him being like, I know I'm ugly, so I need to lose weight to fix that. Like, no, you don't. You are a valid and worthy member of society, even though you are fat. And like, people will love you regardless of that. Like, you could change that or not, and it's not going to make a difference. Like, if you are kind, you are going to have so much more luck than men who are like ripped and assholes. You know? A couple of these were like super horrific though. Like, the worst reply that was included in this was a DM that he got that is just like so ridiculously unnecessary and horrifying. And that was this. Fatty little fuck. I hope your date fucks another guy in the bathroom and your mother gets raped. Whoa. Where does this come from? How did this thought even come into your mind? Like, how did you think of this, let alone type it out and send it to a real person? Like, what went through your mind? It like astounds me that these thoughts even exist in anyone's mind. It's terrifying. It's so terrifying that that happens. Because literally all he did, exist. He posted a photo of himself online and said he was going on a date, and this is the reaction that he gets. But something that is so unbelievably telling about this and about society and men and the way men view women is the fact that like, he wasn't even attacking him. He came in and attacked his mother and the girl that he is going on a date with. This wasn't even about him. He was saying the worst punishment a man can receive is his girlfriend having sex with someone else, because God forbid another man touch your property. That's the worst way to hurt a man. And then wishing like the worst thing that could happen to a person on his mother. Like, not on him. Like, why would you threaten a man with sexual assault? Like, why would you threaten a man with that? That's not harsh enough. What we need to do is we need to bring women into this, and we need to threaten your mother with being sexually abused. Because like, God forbid a man experience that. Not that like it would be okay for him to be like, I hope you get assaulted, because that's obviously also not an okay thing to say. But I find it so just like absurd that it goes back around into just still threatening women, and women who are so separate to the situation, like his mother. What the fuck? Like, you know, if this was with women getting attacked, there would be so many threats from men being like, I will assault you. I will find where you live. I will assault you. Not even like, I hope you get assaulted. It would straight up be threatening their livelihood and their bodies. Like, even Ellie Looks, like the doctor who posted a PhD, she was getting threats from men saying that they would assault her for just having a PhD. So women face that all the time, being directly threatened. And it's astounding to me that men don't face being threatened like that, but instead face being told that they hope women in their lives are hurt like that. Like, that just shows so much that they do view women as like sexual objects, that they do view women as like the property of men, and the way to hurt a man is to hurt his possession. And I just, it's so unbelievable. And it makes me so frustrated and so upset that we're still in a place in society where we view things like that. And again, I don't think he should be facing threats at all. I think this whole thing is absolutely absurd, but it's just incredibly telling, you know? There is one response to this tweet, and this is how I found the tweet in the first place. There's a response to the original tweet that has almost as many likes as the original. It's got 422,000 likes, which I think is so funny. And it just says, this tweet convinced me that men have not a single clue what women find physically attractive, because half of the women I know have dated sturdy and lovely men like this. Andrew Tate really convinced a generation of incels that our physical type is Andrew Tate. Ha 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 ha. And like, yeah, the male gaze is truly so funny because this is so accurate. Like, men have convinced themselves that all women want is like a gym bro, like a buff, chiseled body, because that's what they find hot. That is what they find appealing. So they look at what they think is attractive in a man and is like, that's what women want. No, you are lying to yourself. You have convinced yourself that that is what women want, but a majority of women don't actually desire that. Like, a lot of us obviously can like notice and like appreciate a toned and chiseled physique and like, wow, he's worked hard in the gym. He looks great. But like overall, like one of the most desired like body types in a man is like the dad bod. And these men are out here like, I need a six pack. And it's like most women don't give a shit. For a lot of women, the most important feature on a guy is like their eyes and their smile, because we kind of seek kindness. And like this man looks lovely in a world that like constantly beats women down. Body type is really not playing as much of a role in finding a partner as you think that it would. Like, sure, maybe in like a hookup or a one night stand, that sort of thing comes into play a little bit more, but overall, I don't know any women who are really picky on body types. I know women who will appreciate a like chiseled body, but like most of them aren't gonna see like a chiseled body and be like, that looks like a boyfriend. I want to date that person. It might be like, oh, I'll hook up with him. But like, they don't care. You know? What the most important thing is like kindness and care and love. Those are the most like important things in a relationship. And all of these men who like look at Andrew Tate and just go to the gym constantly are not bringing that to the table. So you're not going to have luck in a relationship. Like, sure, you might be able to have one night stands, but like you're not going to have anything that holds if the only thing you bring to the table is that you work out. If that is your only quality, is that you have abs, it's not good enough. Like, you're ticking one box and it's the least important box there is. This guy has ticked so many more. He's kind, he cares about things. Like, he trained for a marathon to raise awareness for like mental health. You know, he has a nice smile. He looks genuinely kind and he is doing a kind gesture. Like, that is ticking so many more boxes than just, I listen to the Andrew Tate podcast and go to the gym. Like, that's not going to get you any points. That's actually going to lose you points. So this guy, he is such a champ. Oh my God. Like, the fact he's kept this up is astounding. Like, me personally, I would have deleted it after like the first negative comment, because I can't deal with that. There's a reason like I barely read comments on my videos, because like it's just too much. And like, he kept this on and he obviously went and read through the comments, and that's like both self-destructive and also like a lot of the replies are positive. So it's kind of like a little bit of both. I don't really know where it sits with like self-destructive versus like building yourself up. But regardless, he's much stronger than me for keeping it up. And he did make an update of, on a more positive note, I do want to say how grateful I am for the lovely messages and support. Truly does mean the absolute world. Don't want people to think I only pay attention to the hate, because I truly do appreciate the love so much. And honestly, the lovely messages have kept me going the past 24 hours. You are legends. Thank you. And it is truly admirable to be able to focus on the lovely messages in amongst everything else that was going on. Like, they do outweigh the amount of negative by like a lot. There are so many more lovely messages than not. But like, since the intensely horrifying and bad like replies are so intense. Like me personally, I just don't think it would balance out in my mind. And it's incredible that he was able to make it balance out. He did say he's obviously never going to post anything about going on a date on Twitter ever again, which is so valid. So valid. I so wish him the best. Like, this relationship didn't work out for like distance reasons and whatnot. You know, fair enough. Sometimes it just doesn't work out, and that's like totally fine. And like, he's shown his kindness through this account here, and obviously like so many people now know his face. Like 128 million people have seen this tweet. Well, I guess not 128 million people have seen the tweet. A lot of them have seen it multiple times, but like a lot of people have seen this tweet. I'm sure he will have success in his relationships to come. I hope that like he doesn't feel he has to change himself for society. He did actually make a tweet saying like he doesn't regret bringing flowers, regardless of whether it worked out or not. He doesn't regret bringing flowers, and he's not going to change himself because, like, you know, as I said, it's like, if you are the kind of person to bring flowers on a date, you should be dating the kind of person who would love to receive flowers on the first date. There is no need to change yourself, because if you're changing yourself, it's not going to work. You have to be honest. You have to form an honest connection, or you're wasting everybody's time and it is not going to work out. You need to find a compatible person who appreciates you for everything that you are. And I hope he finds someone who appreciates his kindness. I hope he finds someone who, you know, he seems to have like a lot of love to give, and I hope he finds someone who has a lot of love to give as well, and that he finds his match, and I'm sure it'll be lovely. Ultimately, incels have a lot to say about things they have no idea about. They like to talk over women. They like to put women in boxes for absolutely no reason, and it is absolutely infuriating. They are the cause of their own downfall, which I will be talking about at a later point, so stay tuned for that. Hopefully I won't need to be back for a while to talk about bullshit that happens on Twitter, but I don't hold any hope for that, because bullshit happens on Twitter every other day. So let's see what happens next time for me to update you about. Yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts on this entire mess, because I'm curious to know your thoughts. How would you react if someone brought you flowers on the first date? Or do you bring flowers on first dates? I'm curious to know. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. Please do not forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I'm currently uploading 3 videos a week. I think Sundays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So if you want to see that, please don't forget to subscribe. I would love to have you back. A massive thank you to my Sprout and Above patrons, whose names are up on the screen right now. I appreciate you greatly. And a huge thank you to my Kiwi Cat patrons: Bobby, Ikazel, Ellie, Chris, Samuel, Knitting Menace, Radsack, Lady Nutbar, Mr. Noodle, Ella, River, and Phenomenally. I love and appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for joining. If you would like to become a patron, you can go to patreon.com/savvycat or click the link in the description. For as little as £1 a month, you get my videos a day early. And then for £3 and up, you get things such as outtakes, bonus mini podcasts, live streams, vlogs, and more. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram, The Queer Kiwi, and Twitter, That Queer Kiwi. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Stay safe. Keep fighting. I love you. Mwah.